Hello lovely humans, my name is Marvin, and have you actually gone to therapy like I told you to? You have? Great, hope it's going well for you. Anyways, welcome back to my series where I play and rank every game Nintendo's ever published. Today we will, of course, be talking about games they published in 1984, which was certainly better than the previous year. I mean, their latest console at the time, the Famicom, passed the market share of Sega's own SG-1000. Now I don't speak business lingo, but I think that means it did well. Nintendo was also trying to market the console to American retailers around this time as the Advanced Video System, and this thing would have been crazy. It was gonna come with a computer keyboard, wireless controllers, a light gun, a music keyboard. This thing probably could have done your laundry too, but I don't think there's any confirmation on that. Unfortunately, it didn't matter anyway, cause no retailer was interested. Remember, the video game industry was on life support at this point. No one was willing to give it a chance. Thankfully, Nintendo was willing to give it another shot next year, but that won't be until the next video. And that also didn't stop them from publishing more games back in Japan. A whopping 13 of them. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And also be sure to check out my socials as well as the rules for this series in the description. And with that being said, let's go already. Wait, hold on. Are you telling me I have to play another Mahjong game already? Why? Okay, whatever, it's fine. Okay, first game is... Actually, I'm gonna let Google Translate have this one.
Nin Uchi Mahjong.
Okay, that's the game we're talking about. This fan translation calls it 4-player strike Mahjong. And yes, we did briefly talk about a Mahjong game in the last video, but that one only lets you play against one computer player, while this one lets you play against up to 3. Ooh. And, just like last time, I still don't know how to play Mahjong. Seriously, I tried, but I just can't wrap my head around this stuff. Plus, there seem to be new mechanics here that I never noticed in the last one. Like sumo, con, reach? What the hell does any of this mean? Actually, I did do something. I managed to actually get some pairs, but it didn't matter because I still ended up losing anyway, even though I don't know how. Why are you all smiling? That just makes me angrier. Look, I'm sure this isn't the developer's fault or even the game of Mahjong's fault. I'm just too stupid to learn these kinds of games. But screw it, it's my video and my opinions, so because of that... Alright, next up is Clu Clu Land. Wait, what's a Clu Clu? Is it this thing? Is this a Clu Clu? Actually, no. That's a balloon fish called Bubbles, apparently. And also, Puggy Factoid! The original Japanese name can be translated as Clu Clu Land, and Clu Clu is a Japanese onomatopoeia that refers to something going around and around. Seriously, make a noise with your mouth with something spinning round and round. Neat, huh? And it does make sense going into the game. Basically, at the start of each level, you're placed down on a grid, and you just have to pick a direction and Bubbles just races off. She ain't stopping for anybody, not even the walls. And you see these dots here? These are apparently poles that Bubbles can grab onto. Once you're right next to one, just push the D-pad in the direction of said pole and she'll keep spinning right round, baby, right round, till you let go of the D-pad. The ultimate goal is to uncover all the gold ingots on each map by crossing over them. And the best part about that is that on each map, the ingots form a picture. There's only 5 levels, but each one can form one of 4 pictures, meaning there's 20 different pictures. You could get a ribbon, a butterfly, a mouse, or even a house made of gold. Every Minecraft player's dream next to being around middle school. It won't be that easy though, cause on top of wrapping your head around the controls, they are kinda wonky your first time playing. You got these sea urchins to deal with, but you can shoot them with a... shockwave? Okay, and squish them into a wall to temporarily take them down. There's also invisible rubber walls that only appear once you bump into them, and literal black holes! I thought these were supposed to be whirlpools cause, you know, bubblefish, sea urchins were clearly underwater. It makes sense. But nope, apparently those are actual black holes. Someone call King Neptune! There's also a time limit you have to deal with Bubbles losing a life once it runs out, and she also gets faster at the first level. Seriously, she's really zooming. I never made past stage 4 for footage, but you do end up randomly going through all the pictures one at a time, and every 5 stages you get a bonus level where you have to flip over as many ingots as you can in a short time limit. And once you finish every picture, you start over from the beginning, but it's harder. The same old song and dance. And the added difficulty this time is that you can flip the ingots back over. And good dog, thinking about how you're supposed to flip them all over without leaving any flips back over hurts my little puggy brain. And that's Clu Clu Land. And honestly, I kinda love it. I'd even say it's a hidden gem on the NES. It's addicting as all hell figuring out the picture and maneuvering around the level. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A rank. Man, if this game was actually successful, we could have had sequels, Bubbles and Smash, all of that. Nintendo really screwed this over by giving it this box art. Now we have Devil World, which seems to be one of the first instances of Nintendo releasing a game everywhere except for North America. This is because the game contains religious imagery, and Nintendo of America considered that a big no-no on their turf. But I don't know, man, they could have localized the game and replaced the imagery with something else, like a croissant. Anyway, what's the game actually like? Well, have you ever played Pac-Man? Because it's basically Pac-Man, or a maze game, whatever you want to call it. But there are some twists to this formula that make it more interesting. Firstly, I don't remember Pac-Man needing the power of Jesus to defeat his enemies. Seriously, this little dragon guy basically can't do anything without religion in his life. He can't collect these pellets, and he can't defeat enemies with his fireball. Only when he picks up a cross and accepts Jesus into his life can he do those things. The second twist has to do with this guy up here, literally called the Devil. Basically, whichever direction he points in, he has his minions literally move the stage in said direction. This isn't good because, unlike Pac-Man where you can loop around to the other side of the maze easily, in this game you're confined to the area on the screen, and not only can that make it hard to grab certain pellets when there's only a few left, but you can literally get squished between walls. Jesus may be able to save you from sin, but he can't save you from that. Anyway, stage 1 has you collect the pellets, but stage 2 has you collect 4 bibbles floating in each corner of the screen and bring them to this box. Don't worry, Jesus will still offer you the same abilities while you're carrying a bibble, so you're good. Once you complete the box, the devil flies up scared and we give chase. But not before playing a quick bonus stage to get some boxes. But not just any boxes, mystery boxes? And once you're done that, you loop back to the first stage, but slightly harder. I'm gonna be so glad when Nintendo stops doing this, but I'm just gonna say this is actually one of the easier games Nintendo's put out at this time. That's not saying a lot, cause this was a time when they made games hard to squeeze as much playtime out of players as possible, but the only challenge comes from not being equipped against the monsters and getting squished. Even I managed to get a few loops in before I game overed, so while I do think this game is good, it's only that, good, so it's gonna get a C rank.
My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's cause Jesus Christ is my
ninja! Looks like Big Monkey is back in his third official game, and already they made more changes to the formula. Firstly, Big Monkey is back to being the villain. Secondly, the game's some sort of shooter now instead of a platformer. And thirdly, neither Mario nor Little Monkey are anywhere to be seen. Instead, in the protagonist role, we got everyone's favorite character from the Game & Watch game Greenhouse. It's Stanley the Bugman! Wait, this game was really divisive and ended up being Stanley's last major appearance outside of cameos? Aww. Yeah, not only that, but this was also the last major Donkey Kong game until Donkey Kong Country a whole decade later. Why would Nintendo end up abandoning him for so long? Well, let's find out. The game involves Big Monkey hanging off of these vines, and Stanley just needs to push him to the top of the screen by spraying pesticide up his ass. If you don't do this, Big Monkey will fall down and you'll lose a life. But of course winning's not going to be easy, cause Big Monkey routed some beehives at the start of the level, and they're so angry that apparently they want to steal Stanley's plants for some reason, so you gotta spray those guys too. You can also beat a stage by spraying enough of these guys. There's also these snakes that come down and slither back and forth on platforms. The only effect the pesticide has on these guys is stunning them for a few seconds, which can be annoying when they're right under Big Monkey. Dog damn it, move! And actually, no, you don't need to spray the bees in the first 2 stages. Not only because they're good for the environment and you shouldn't mistreat them like that, but because you can mostly just ignore them and focus entirely on spraying Big Monkey. Look! Seriously, check out Stanley, even he's surprised. And once you beat level 2, you loop back to begin- Wait, hold on, I gotta read that again. You loop back after just stage 2? Jeez! Of course, more bees will consistently spawn to make things harder, as well as a new, bigger bee that not only has to be hit twice, but on the second hit, it bursts out spikes that you need to avoid. They do so in the same way every time, but that won't matter if you kill them while they're right up in your face! And after the first level, the second loop, there's apparently a new stage that wasn't there the first time for whatever reason. And the only difference is that there's a gap in the second row and more snakes spawn. Finally, there's the other modes. With Game B, though, I honestly didn't notice a difference in difficulty. I think the only thing that's different is that Big Monkey requires more ass sprays to defeat, and with the 2-player offering, it's the same old take turns approach. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this game sucks. It just straight up sucks. It's pretty frustrating, and all the music and sound effects are so annoying. Shut up! Also, I hope you like repetitive strain injuries, because this game will probably give you one, so I'm just gonna give this game the D rank and move on. I can see why Nintendo kept you locked up for a decade.
Okay.
Now we got Duck Hunt, our first light gun game, and this is where we hit our first big snag with this series. See, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not playing these games on official hardware. As such, I can't use the NES Zapper, nor the Super Scope once I get to the SNES. And I don't know about you, but I currently can't afford an NES, NES Zapper, SNES, Super Scope, all the light gun games Nintendo's published, a CRT TV to play them on cause the light guns only work on those, extra aux cables, an aux to HDMI converter, an HDMI to aux converter, an HDMI cable, and a capture card. And I know that I could just use my mouse to control all of these games, but I really don't think that's giving them a fair chance. So you know what I did? I bought this. This is the Sinden light gun, which claims to be the first true LCD compatible light gun. Now, this wasn't cheap either, but it's better than the alternative, and if it works, I'll be golden. If it doesn't, I'm gonna need a loan. Please work, please work, please work! Holy crap, it works! Awesome! Now I can properly simulate killing fowl! And yeah, that's basically all you do in this game. You hunt ducks. The game consists of rounds, and each round gives you 10 ducks to shoot with your gun. On the main menu, you can choose between 1 duck showing up at a time, or 2 at a time, and you just have to aim and shoot. But how can such an old game tell that you're hitting your targets? Is it magic? Well, no, but it's just as cool, and pretty creative. Basically, inside the barrel of the NES Zapper is an optical sensor that detects light. That's why it's called a light gun. In the split second that the trigger is pulled, the screen will go completely black for 1 frame, and in the next frame, while the screen is still black, a white square will appear where the target was, and this is what the sensor is looking for. If it sees the white box, it'll register as a hit. If it doesn't, it's a miss. At least that's how I understand it. If you want a more thorough explanation, the Slow-Mo guys actually uploaded a video about this just a few months ago. Go check it out, I'll link it in the description. With each duck, or a pair of ducks, you only have 3 rounds, and if you miss all 3 or take too long, they'll get away, and your hunting dog will laugh at you. Why are you doing that? I'm your owner. We're supposed to be friends. Another piece of added difficulty is that the ducks get faster with every round, and it can get hard pretty quickly. Like, here's a duck on round 1, and here's one on round 12, like holy shit! Unfortunately, that does mean that they're super slow in the early rounds, and honestly, it's pretty boring. Well, maybe I just need a change of pace. Let's go after some clay pigeons. Hold on a second. Those aren't pigeons. Seriously, I'm not the only one who wonders why they're called that, right? Anyway, this mode is just as simple as the other ones. 2 clay pigeons are shot off at a time, and you just aim and shoot. There's 10 per round, and it gets slightly faster with each round. And honestly, this gets pretty boring as well. I guess I could say that about the whole game, really. The light gun is a cool novelty, but it wears out quickly in a game this simple. So I'm not gonna give it a D, but I will put it at the bottom of C rank. Now that I'm finished with duck hunting, it's time for me to ride my dirt bike in the Excitebike, boy! Whoa, okay, let's not do that again, cause I was feeling the sudden urge to be racist. Anyway, this is the first racing game we're gonna cover. Once you choose from either Selection A or Selection B, you then get to choose to race on one of... Wait, only 5 tracks? Good dog, we're spoiled nowadays. And this isn't like some racing games you might think of, it's actually a side-scrolling racer. The racers occupy one of 4 lanes on the track, and you have to make sure that if you're in the same lane as someone else that you're not running into them from behind, because otherwise you'll eat dirt. But it is pretty funny when you do it to other racers. In order to spice up the races, there's a whole lot of hills and ramps, and you have to make sure you're properly angled when you ride off them, and especially when you land. Your angle when you jump off a ramp or a hill determines how high and how far you'll go, and your angle when you land determines whether or not you'll eat dirt. There's also a turbo button which will allow you to go zooming down the track, but if you do this for too long, your engine will yell at you that it's time to stop! And if you ignore its pleas for mercy, it'll overheat and break down.
I say right foot.
Okay, now that we understand the controls, it's time to race. Wait, where's everyone else? Why am I the only one racing here? Well, apparently Selection A is considered the solo run game. If you want to race against other racers, you'll need to select Selection B. But that doesn't really matter anyway, and let me explain why. All you're supposed to do in every race is to get 3rd place or better. That's enough to let you move on to the next track. If you place 4th or worse, it's game over and you boot back to the title screen. But here's the kicker. Where you place isn't dependent on the other racers at all, just on your time. The game only tells you the time you have to beat to get 3rd place at least. And if you go over it, you might as well restart the console. And the time to beat gets tighter and tighter with each track in order up until the 5th one, and they get more complicated too. Oh yeah, there's only 5 tracks. What happens when you beat the final one, I wonder? Well, it makes you race on that same track again. And once you beat it again, it makes you do it again. Over and over and over and over and over until you either give up or game over. Well, I'm doing the former. Now, let's see what's up with this design option on the menu. Oh, it's a track editor. Neato. I mean, it is kinda limited, you're not gonna make any masterpieces with this, but hey, the option is still nice, and I'm still gonna make something stupid out of it. Behold, my custom track! I call it Hilly McHill Hills. And oh man, the other racers don't stand a chance on this. Doesn't mean I can either. Still one though. Oh, and look, you can save your track as well. Ain't that nice? I think I'll do that and play on another time.
The next day.
Man, I really feel like playing on Hilly McHill Hills today. Let's do it. Wait, where's Hilly McHill Hills? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I see. I think I have to load it. Okay, here we go.
1 hour later.
Any minute now.
2 hours later.
I'm really hoping it's just taking a long time.
3 hours later.
So it turns out that the game didn't, in fact, save my track. See, in order for cartridge-based games to be able to save in the first place, it needs a battery. Excitebike doesn't have one. And you know what else this game doesn't have? Multiplayer! In a racing game! Wait, actually there is multiplayer for Excitebike. In arcades. Okay, so while this game does have a good foundation that can be built upon, it also only has 5 tracks to race on, a track creator where you can't save your creations, and no multiplayer! So it's going right to the bottom of C rank. So you know how I said Excitebike wasn't a traditional racing game? Well, here it is. Kind of. But it was Japan only, which is kinda stupid cause 1, I'm pretty sure F1 has an audience here in North America, no one near as much as NASCAR, but it's there, and 2, the whole game's already in English! They could have easily just put the ROM on an NES card and shipped it over here. And it's definitely a shame cause it's actually pretty fun. Basically to start, you choose your skill level and the game will give you 5 tracks to race through, and you, well, drive. And yeah, this is more like what I expected. You know, racing game graphics from this time always interested me. This was before Mode 7 with the SNES, and long before 3D became actually achievable in gaming, so this was the best they could do back then, and I kinda love it. Wait, hold on. I lost already? Why? Oh, okay, so I have to beat a lap within a given time limit, with the game giving me more time once I complete said lap, and I was just too slow. I have to actually gear shift if I want a chance to win. Okay, and good dog you go, Zoomin. Freaking 400 kilometers an hour. I'm sure that'll make any Americans watching go. Oh, and be sure to watch out for when a turn ends and it automatically starts another turn in the opposite direction, cause good dog! And also, there's of course other racers on the course, although you're not really racing against them. They're just obstacles that you have to swerve around, and make sure you do because if you hit another racer, you instantly explode! Jesus Christ, Formula 1's metal as fuck! But yeah, it's basically all you do in order to play this game. Once again, you have 3 difficulties to choose from, and it mainly just changes the complexity of the 5 courses you drive through. Apparently on track 5 though, there's an infinite number of laps, and with each lap, the timer gets shorter and shorter until it forces a game over. So yeah, not much to this one, but man is it fun. Swerving around the other racers and being a track with only a second left, or even 0 seconds left? Nice! So will I give it an A or B rank? Ah, screw it. A rank, baby! I mean, what do you want me to say about it? It's golf! If you ever played a golf game before, or even played the actual sport of golf before, then you've played this game. You take this Mario lookalike, who may or may not actually be Mario, I don't know, and you try to get your ball into the hole. Do it 17 more times, and you're done. I will commend them for actually managing to program golf and wind physics into this game, and you do have plenty of options when it comes to getting the ball into the hole. But even then, you're better off skipping this one. And not because I was bad at it, okay? Like I said with baseball, you have plenty of modern options to mess around with nowadays, even ones that actually have Mario in them. So, just like baseball, it's getting a C rank. Besides, I'm more of a mini golf guy anyway. Now it's time to shoot 'em up in Hogan's Alley, another light gun game. This is basically a shooting gallery game. Actually, it's based on an actual shooting range. In the first game mode, the game will give you 3 cardboard cutouts, with up to 2 of them being of gangsters, and you only have a few seconds to shoot them. And by seconds, I mean like 2. max. Oh, but make sure you don't shoot any civilians accidentally, and don't waste your shots. You only have as many as there are gangsters in each round. That's pretty much it. Every gangster you don't shoot and any civilians you do shoot will count as a miss, and if you get 10 of those, it's game over. The second game mode is apparently a recreation of the actual shooting range, and cutouts of gangsters will pop their heads out of windows and such. Again, 10 misses and it's game over. The third mode has you trick shooting cans that are flying through the air. Shooting them bounces them, and you have to get them into these holes in the side of the screen to try and rack up a high score. If a can hits the bottom of the screen, it counts as a miss. And, of course, 10 of those and it's game over. And that's literally all there is to Hogan's Alley. Except I had a problem with this game. The first game mode, everything worked fine. I didn't get very far, but everything was fine, up until I played the other game modes. Something was up with the Sinden light gun, because in these modes it was just bucking out and not tracking properly. In the third mode it fared a little better because I was actually able to get some points, but in the second mode, I only managed to hit one target. One! Look, I'm trying to shoot them and it's just not working. I think it might be because of how much black is on screen in these modes, and light gun just wasn't agreeing with that. Like, duck hunt, very little black, works fine. The first mode of Hogan's Alley, little black, works fine. These other two modes, too much black, doesn't want to work. Maybe we should cancel the Sinden light gun on Twitter or something, because it's clearly being racist. Well, actually I found out later that it was a screw up on my part. See, the Sinden light gun has a camera inside its barrel that's actually looking for a border on your screen. That's how it does its calibration, and you can download borders for RetroArch that the light gun will recognize. And what do you know? Once you set up a border, everything works as intended. Look, the game works now. It wasn't because the gun was racist. I'm sorry for trying to cancel you, Sinden light gun. Can you ever forgive me? Now that I can judge the game itself without any outside problems, I can still say that the game is honestly kinda boring. But hey, at least it has more variety than Duck Hunt, but only a tiny bit, so it's going slightly above it in C tier. I mean, it's pinball. You kids do know what pinball is, right? Well, if you don't happen to know what it is, basically the only goal is to knock a metal ball around with these paddles in order to hit obstacles and get as many points as possible. If the ball gets behind the paddles though, you lose a ball, and you only have a few of those. But yeah, that's literally all there is to pinball. Damn, how am I gonna fill up time with this game? I guess I can detail the ways Nintendo tried to spice up this game, so let's do that. The table is split up into two sections, with each having their own paddles. If the ball gets behind the paddles in the first half, it'll drop down into the second half. Going into this lane will start a roulette wheel, and you have to hit this when it's above a slot to stop it. Getting matching numbers gives you points. I never got matching points. If you extinguish all these lights, these seals will start to party! Now to the bottom half. There are 5 face-down cards. If you manage to flip them all over by rolling over them, you get a huge bonus. There's some eggs here, and passing over them hatches them into chicks. Getting all 3 chicks to hatch will place these hard hats onto the side lanes to block the ball 1 time each. And finally, getting the ball into this hole takes you to a bonus game with Mario! And you're basically playing Breakout. I highly doubt kids these days know what that is, in order to match the colors on these bingo balls in Free Pauline. If the ball falls under Mario, it's spit back onto the main table. And yeah, that's Nintendo's Pinball. It's definitely more enjoyable than other games where it's just a game from real life, but like I said with those other games, you have better options elsewhere, so I'm gonna give this a C rank. Alright, now it's time to play some
tennis.
And I think you can guess what I'm about to say, so say it with me folks, it's just tennis! Just plain old
Tennis.
with no extra bells and whistles. If you're expecting Mario
Tennis.
out of this, then you're looking in the wrong place. And good dog is this game long and slow. I don't know anything about
Tennis.
really, but I'm pretty sure what happens is that there's 3 sets, and one side of course has to win 9 rounds before they can win the set and you move on to the next one. And the fact that it probably would have taken me like 25 minutes to finish a single set, I wasn't gonna play this for almost an hour and a half. I probably would have literally died of boredom. Okay, you know what? Maybe it was because I was playing on the easiest difficulty. Maybe if I play on the highest one, I'll get a real challenge. Whoa, 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 whoa! Holy shit! Okay, from my observations, it seems like the different difficulties change how fast the ball flies, and I think on the highest one it goes way too fast. Like, how the hell am I supposed to react to that? Then again, I suppose that's how fast it goes in real life, and that just goes to show that, both in the real world and the virtual one, I'm just terrible at sports in general. But I don't know, man, I just wasn't having fun with
Tennis.
And in the words of Reggie, my body is ready, Fils-a-me. If it's not fun, it, give it a D. And you know what, Mr. Reggie? You're right. I'm gonna do just that. Now go back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on your Nintendo 3DS. Thank you very much. Oh boy, what have I gotten myself into? In case you guys don't know, people love the doggone Urban Champion as one of the worst games on the NES. And now I have the pleasure of playing it. Woo! So here's the rundown. This is a fighting game, one of the first of its kind actually. You're a punk fighting against either another human punk or a computer punk, and your entire goal is to punch the other punk until you punch him off the pavement 3 times. Once you do that, you win, and then move on to finding an identical looking punk, with which you repeat the process. You have a light and heavy attack which can be aimed high or low, but not too low. That's just disrespectful. The light attack only pushes your opponent back slightly, but the heavy attack will really knock them back. The only problem is that it's slower than the light attack, but not when the computer does it. Their heavy attacks come just as fast as their light ones. It's not fair. And of course, there are other things you must worry about, like the policeman. Every once in a while, they'll interrupt your fight by just driving by, and you have to wait them out. And if the timer runs out, they'll come and take you away, but not your opponent. They'll just leave him to celebrate. Maybe he's actually the son of the policeman. There's also stamina that you have to deal with, which is your health. Throwing punches, getting punched, having a flower pot fall on your head, screw you! All of that will drain it. And if you run out of stamina, you can't throw any more heavy attacks, so you basically just lost a life. Oh yeah, you have lives as well, and only 3 of them. You can't get any more. And you're just supposed to rely on those 3 lives until the end. Yeah, apparently there is an end to this. Only after you defeat 45 opponents without a game over. That's 135 rounds of the most simplistic fighting game that feels stiffer than a tree. It's more like 2 trees. And just like that, I can now see why people dog on this game. Now personally, I don't think it's the absolute worst game I've played thus far. I think Donkey Kong 3 is worse because it frustrated me. But don't get me wrong, it's still bad, so it's getting a D rank. Finally, the final game, Wild Gunman. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I forgot about this game until almost the last minute. I have no idea why. I mean, this was the game that was originally launched with the Zapper in Japan, and it's the main reason why their version of it looks the way it does. Well, I'm glad I didn't forget about it, cause honestly, it's the best light gun game Nintendo's published thus far. The first 2 modes are all about the quick draw. 1 or 2 bandits will walk onto the screen, and when they say, you just gotta shoot them before they shoot you. And make sure you're actually quick about it, cause your window is pretty tight, and it gets tighter as you go along. Oh, get your mind out of there. Thankfully, you don't have to be super accurate when you fire, cause the white box will actually fill up the whole screen, or half the screen when you're up against 2 bandits. As long as you're pointing the zapper at the screen when you pull the trigger, you're all good. That does mean you can just point your zapper at the screen the whole time, and as long as you're quick enough, you'll win almost every time. I mean, look how far I made it that way, and how fast I am. Damn! But still, that's no fun. It's better if you commit to it by pretending to pull out a holstered gun. Actually, the original Japanese game came with a plastic holster belt, which is pretty badass. And yeah, that's all there really is to this mode. You only have 3 lives, so when you run out, back to the title screen you go. And since we're here, let's check out the final game mode, which is a shooting gallery of a saloon. And bandits will pop out of the door and windows, and, of course, you have to shoot them quickly. Unlike the other modes, you actually had to be accurate here. You do have more bullets than there are bandits, way more than you could fit in a revolver, so you can afford to miss once or twice, but you should really try to be accurate. And that's all there is to Wild Gunman. And even though there isn't too much to this one like Duck Hunt or Hogan's Alley, I'd still say it's pretty good. Certainly not bad or ugly. I mean, seeing just how fast you can quickfire is pretty fun, so I'm gonna give it a B rank. And that's every Nintendo game from 1984. And good dog, it might have been worse than last year, but only slightly. I mean, no matter what year they released in, Donkey Kong 3 and Urban Champion would have knocked them down a peg, but at least there were some hidden gems in Clu Clu Land and F1 Race. Oh well, next year will most likely be better, because we get to play Balloon Fight, baby! Oh, and also Super Mario Bros, I guess. Well, hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more of this series, and be sure to follow me on my socials. And with that being said, I've been Marvin, and I'm gonna go take a snooze now. Peace!